Is a warm welcome for a returning superstar, Alison.
I'll take it. Thank you so much for that warm introduction. And yes, this is actually my third Email Insider Summit. Second, since things have returned since COVID. And I will be talking about the personalization imperative and why customer centricity matters. Though it was tempting to pivot and talk about what Dana mentioned earlier, how people who know nothing about email like to think they know a lot about email. Or maybe what Karen talked about, how very political it can be to make any changes within our organizations to our email programs, something I'm sure we all know a lot about. But I'm going to stick with my aforementioned scripted programming. And, of course, so many things have changed in our industry and, of course, for our consumer. And I thought as a jumping off point, we would review some stats and dive in. So first up, we have a stat that goes to the ubiquity of the mobile channel. And if you weren't eating, you would probably all have your mobile devices out. And I wouldn't be offended because that's just human nature. We see that 76% of consumers are using 2 or more screens simultaneously to browse unrelated content. And this stat reminds me of about 15 years ago when I started at American Express on the mobile and email team. And Amex was so excited about the mobile opportunity back then because it meant that they were going to be able to reach their card members on the go at restaurants, in airports, even in traffic when people were at stoplights, of course. Though when we started to get research back on those early iPhone users, what we saw is that they were using their phones in very similar ways to how they are now. They were dual devicing, and they were doing it on their couches or at their desks, and they had another screen in front of them. And of course, we've all done this. We probably did it this weekend with our kids while we were watching a movie, and then we take out our phone and we order something on Amazon that's totally unrelated to what we're watching on the screen at that moment. So in the past 15 years, what's happened is mobile has become an incredibly mature channel from a consumer standpoint. The good news is that finally, the marketing technology that's enabled you, the marketer, to reach consumers with sophisticated marketing campaigns has finally caught up. And I'm excited to show you some examples about that today. From a consumer standpoint, what has changed is the way that consumers are using mobile devices to do research in the field. And we're seeing that 70% of consumers are using their phones to look for information on a product and how they plan to purchase in store. I'm sure this is familiar for all of you. Ultimately, we're seeing that marketers that use 3 or more channels are achieving almost 500% higher order value. So I know Rachel made a joke about this earlier in her presentation this morning, but that omnichannel reality is really here with us today. But how do we not get drowned out in all of that noise? Well, in the voice of the consumer herself, from our own personalization study that I shared at EIS in December, the answer is, of course, personalization. Consumers not only expect it, they demand it from the brands that they are going to reward with their loyalty and business. But in the face of challenges from things like MPP and cookie deprecation, marketers are now in this scramble to amass this arsenal of first and zero-party data to meet this personalization imperative. The trouble with all that data, of course, is that consumers don't experience data, right? They experience content. And with that content comes other challenges. Dana's not the only one who didn't get new headcount on her team. Who else didn't get headcount this year? Raise your hand. Yeah, okay, so the majority of you didn't get new heads to support that content imperative. So increasingly what we're seeing is that smart marketers are turning to automation-based personalization solutions, and increasingly those that use AI to meet the decisioning needs. So today, I'm excited to share with you some examples from across our award-winning client base that are going to show you how to use automation-based personalization solutions to deliver that omni-channel customer-centric solution. So Let's jump in. Okay, so Rakuten Vicky's mission is to deliver the best Asian television movies to their very passionate fan base across the world. I'm talking about shows like The Startup or It's Okay, It's Just Love. If you think you like K-pop, you are gonna love K-drama. I'm not kidding. Has anybody downloaded Rakuten Vicky? Anybody a big fan? Okay, you're missing out. So as these content libraries for streaming services have proliferated, so has this problem of decision anxiety. You all know it. You finish binging your favorite show, and you're just gripped by this anxiety about what to watch next. Well, Rakuten Vicky designed this campaign to help customers find that next favorite show based on their previous viewing behavior, selecting a fun choose-your-own-adventure style message with a playful answer to this question: what shall we watch? Not sure what to watch tonight. Subscribers would choose a unique scratch-off based on 4 answers that allowed Rakuten Vicky to tailor the content offerings, and the results were phenomenal. They saw a 500% lift in click-through rate for email, a 22% lift in in-app messaging, and most importantly, a 17% lift in video play conversion. This campaign was really a masterclass in how to provide actionable first-party data and real value for their subscribers. I really encourage you to also download their app. They've got amazing content that you all are gonna just absolutely just love. Okay, next up, our example is from Noodles & Company, one of the fastest growing QSRs in America. Who's dined at Noodles & Co.? Yay, they're amazing. And they're really renowned for their very beloved loyalty program. So in this Noodles & Co. interactive campaign, they have a poll which displayed a variety of rewards benefits to choose from, with things like free delivery or 50% off or a full price rewards entree. Customers were prompted to pick their favorite offer. The Noodles marketing team quickly learned that utilizing dynamic gamified components in this omnichannel campaign yielded much higher engagement results. The poll captured guest offer preferences, and then that informed future campaigns, like on the right. They saw a 9-time lift in click-through rate, and they generated $71 per every 100 emails sent, which was far higher than the benchmark. This was a great example of how to use zero-party data to activate loyalty in that omnichannel experience. All right. Our last example is from Gary Kamikawa at Amazon Music. Did anyone hear him present at the last Email Insider Summit? Great. All right. He's an amazing presenter. Hope you get a chance to hear him speak. So this is from Amazon Music. They wanted to improve their customer streaming playback because this behavior is closely tied to things like LTV and their subscription retention behavior. They've got over 5 million subscribers in their file, but they had no way to activate personalization using their internal ESP. In this email that we're looking at on the right-hand side, we're seeing an example of a newsletter that goes out on a weekly basis, and this new release section was generic. It was sent out to the entire file. Using Movable Ink, we were able to tap into their internal database and replace this new release module with millions of personalized one-to-one creative variations based on the recipient's taste in artist and listing data, all directly within the inbox of the recipient. The result was custom one-to-one creative treatments, which delivered significantly improved performance and speed to market. If this was mine, unfortunately, it would all look like Encanto. The results were phenomenal. We saw a 582% increase in engagement, a 69% increase in playback active rate, and we saved 469 hours of manual work just in the US alone. What's also great about this campaign is that this snippet of code in this content block was able to be reused again and again in other campaigns, just like little Lego blocks. If you're interested in learning more about this, we have a case study that's going to be published on our site on Thursday, and Gary's going to be speaking at our conference in June in New York at Think Summit. We'd love to see you there and happy to share if you're interested in getting a discount code from me or Adam. So, in sum, the omnichannel reality is really here. It's upon us now, but how are you going to make this a reality for your organization? Well, first and foremost, you need to build a clear journey across all platforms where your customers are right now. And again, the good news is that the technology is finally there for you to bring them sophisticated campaigns and meet them where they are. Secondly, you need to activate that zero and first-party data, but remembering that customers don't experience data, they experience content. But if you're gonna keep up with the speed of business, you need to do so automatically. So lastly, if you'd like to learn more about any of the examples I've shared today or more, please find me or Adam. We're gonna be here through the rest of the show, and we'd love to continue the conversation. Thanks so much.